Hi, everyone, and welcome to Perform Plus or the Perform Plus interview series. I'm your host, Andy McDowell, and today I've got a really special guest, Steve Thompson, who's the president and CEO of Focal Point Business Coaching. Obviously, Steve and I know each other given my affiliation or our affiliation here in New Zealand to Focal Point. So, Steve, you're a special guest, and I'm really glad you can lead us off in this interview series. Thank you so much for joining. And, just to kick off, I'd love for you to give us a brief background as to who you are and obviously who Focal Point are.
Well, absolutely, and thank you for having me on the podcast, Andy. It's always great to support a Kiwi, and I think, as you know, my wife's side is all from New Zealand, so I have a special affinity for where you're at. And yeah, just happy to talk a little bit about my journey and where we started, and how Focal Point got going, if you'd like.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so I started back. I'm originally from Calgary, Canada. I live in Vancouver, Canada now. Like many of us, as we get older, I like to migrate a bit more to a tad warmer climate, which is good. And I was very fortunate to have grown up in a entrepreneurial environment. My family, specifically my dad, a self-made guy, was in business and starting from scratch and ended up owning three automotive franchises. So was definitely exposed to business and to franchising from the beginning. And really having him and growing up around that, I was lucky to have that sort of through osmosis, and then
Mm.
worked with them growing up and learned a lot about, culture and leadership and what it took to make a successful business. Definitely have seen my share of successes and failures out there, and there are some commonalities, and it does have to do with some of those foundational things like leadership and the culture that leadership
Cool.
creates.
Yeah, cool. And you know, great to hear about your family background. That resonates with me coming from a small independently owned business background and having that ingrained into you from your upbringing perspective. With your family, was the outside of that connection, was there an initial spark that led you into this direction, outside of family?
This direction for sure. Yeah, into business ownership and knowing that it was possible would be from my father. But into this direction, absolutely. And that came way back in mid 1999. I had exited a business that I was in and had done well in it. But the thing that really stood out to me after that was I learned the concept of business coaching,
Right.
and I immediately fell in love with it because it combined some things that were very important to me, in business and personally. I had been in business already, and when I found out there's a thing called business coaching way back in mid 1999, it combined two things that I love. I've played team sport my whole life. I was drafted into a professional league. I've always believed in the team concept and in sport, having a coach and learning from people who have been there and done that. And once I'd been in the business world, I realized that there wasn't that, or didn't seem to have that for myself, and then learned of the concept again way back in mid 1999. And the moment I heard it, it was very captivating. It almost was like a spark,
Yeah.
because everything I'd done, well, I guess it hit me in a negative wave at first, which was, oh man, I wish I'd had a business coach because they could have helped me done it faster, done it better, maybe salvaged some partnerships or had them flourish. There was all these emotions that flowed through
Yeah,
me,
cool.
meaning, oh gosh, I wish I'd known about this business coaching thing, because
Yeah.
I would have paid for that service to help me get through what I was getting through even faster.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really interesting, especially the connection between sport and business. I can completely relate to that. Just moving on, it's in terms of common misconceptions about running a business. What do you think some of the common ones are, and also how do you address them?
Well, I'll answer the first part with just my knee-jerk reaction to that is one of the most common misconceptions is, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
or oh, I could run that better. There's a lot of over here where I am, gridiron football. There's a lot of armchair quarterbacks, and they sit on their couch, they watch TV, and they think it's easy. Well, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Business can be very simple, but it's not easy. And some people think, oh yeah, I could do that, or I could do that better, or look at that business could do things better.
Yeah.
Until they've sat in that seat or they've walked a mile in those shoes, they wouldn't understand that it isn't easy. It can be simple. There can be simple processes, but it's the implementation of the processes. It's the implementation of
Yeah.
the proven methodologies that takes real commitment.
Yes.
And again, you can sit there on the couch and think you do it, but there's a rare few who have the entrepreneurial attitude and the ability to look in the mirror and look back at their boss. It's them, and actually get things done. So that's one of the big misconceptions. Is some people think it's pretty easy, but it takes effort. I love it, but it takes effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So given that effort and commitment, how do you maintain a work-life balance as an owner of a large business and obviously a global franchise system? Do you have any personal rituals or habits that keeps you motivated and focused?
Yeah, I do. I do, especially now. I think I've gotten better and better at that through the course of my career. Back in the early days, there was probably less of that. I hadn't learned how to do it properly. And there's a few things. And, one of the things as a business coach that I love to teach clients or we teach as coaches is something called block scheduling.
Okay.
Ingrained in our culture is the culture point of balance. And we believe in it. So I guess it first has to be authentic belief that there should be balance, because again, not right or wrong, not judging, but
Mm,
some people don't have that mindset.
right.
Well, I believe in balance, and that doesn't mean you don't work hard or don't work hours. It means
Mm,
when you work hard, and when you play hard, or when you have personal time with your family, you do that in a very, very good way. So blocking off those times and making a concerted effort to have them in your calendar. Things that you won't compromise.
mm,
I'm not going to work at midnight on Saturday. It's blocked off in my schedule.
yeah, sure.
So if for some reason someone wanted to do that, I would just simply say no.
Mm,
And having the ability to have parameters around your schedule.
mm,
But that also means you have to, when you are in those work times, work hard. And do the things and have the habits that help you flourish. So blocking it off is key, and then also communicating it constructively to your team, so that they know that you are working hard when you work, but then when you're playing hard, you should be able to play hard and celebrate that. And there's all of the sharpen the saw isms out there. My favorite, my mantra for a long time has always been, you need to slow down to speed up. We all need to recharge batteries. We all need to slow down to speed up. If you just go Mach 10 the whole time, something's going to give at some point.
mm,
So balance is also good for your business, because you can then have time to reflect. I was just on the island of Maui a couple of weeks ago, and just slowing down had an amazing effect on how fast my subconscious and superconscious mind worked when it freed up that space. So you actually become more constructive, more profitable when you take the time.
mm. That's really good. That's super interesting. You talked about, I guess, being adaptable there, in that constantly evolving business landscape. Other than what you've just mentioned, are there any other ways that you stay adaptable and be open to change? Are there any specific strategies you use to remain innovative, or focal point for that matter?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, and I'll get to specifically at focal point. And one of the ways is to listen to smart business coaches that we have on our team. So I'll talk
Yeah.
about that in a minute. But whenever it comes to change, we certainly teach on a concept called Gleischer's formula for change. There is an actual formula
Yeah.
for it, and you can certainly contact us for it if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that. But you have to, I believe you need to embrace the concept of change. Not all change is necessary or good or any of that kind of stuff. But change is a constant. Things will continue to evolve, will continue to change. So we have to make sure that we're aware of it, and that we're embracing the change that is necessary for us in our jobs, our businesses, and that direction. The only thing that is constant is change. It's going to happen, and I know you've seen that, and we've seen that from
Absolutely.
something that's is easy to discuss as technology. We have wonderful ways to harness the power of AI and utilize it in our business and embrace it, rather than run away from it or be scared of what it is, and what it has for us and hold in the future. So embracing change is certainly going to help us. And from a focal point perspective, one of the ways we do that, and one of the ways we stay innovative, is in communicating effectively with our team members. Getting input and feedback from our coaches, getting input and feedback from our clients, what's working, what's not working. Like, don't be afraid to find out what's not working. If we know something's not working, then you can make a change. You can adapt and you can make it better. If you don't know what's not working, then you continue doing what's not working, and it's a perpetual thing in a downward spiral. So listening to our team is absolutely important. And it's not just a reactive way. You need to go and ask your customers. You need to go out and ask your team members what is working for them and what's not. And then the only other thing I would recommend is, education and knowledge is one of our culture points. Investing in ourselves in different ways, in different forums outside of just what's contained in our business or their business. So going to different trainings and associations and different places where you can learn new things, especially with, again, things like technology and with the advent of AI. There are all sorts of places to gain knowledge. Some stuff you may use, some stuff you may not, but just having it helps us form our path of which way we're going to go forward. But yeah, change is constant, so we always have to be aware of what's on the horizon.
Absolutely, yeah. Be ready for it. No doubts about that. Just on change, could you give us a glimpse or offer anything in terms of future plans and goals for Focal Point? And what do you envisage for the next chapter of the entrepreneurial journey? Outside of New Zealand, of course.
Well, we'll start inside of New Zealand because very
Yeah,
selfishly, I know that you're there, and many people from New Zealand will hear the message.
yeah, awesome.
Well, we're the world leader in business coaching. We're the largest business coaching company in the United States, and we're very proud of it.
Right.
That said, we have entered into 20 different countries around the world, and we're having significant impact, all over the world. And we're looking forward to seeing that impact even more so in New Zealand. With you and Scott and the team, we've got a great foundation to build upon, like we have over here. And we love the message that you're spreading there, and we're very proud of where we're headed in New Zealand. Future plans globally. When I started the company, and myself and my partners, I partnered with Brian Tracy and Cam Fraser and other people way back in January 2004. So it'll be 21 years this January. We had a couple of BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals from the Jim Collins Good to Great book. One of them was to have a business coach in every city and town in the world. So, watch out, Invercargill. We're coming your way. We're going to be all over the world in every city and town. And that's important to us to know that we're going to have impact all over the world. And the other one was to be the first business coaching company to impact 1 million clients and 1 million people. And when we started, it was a true BHAG, which is unattainable, but it's something you shoot towards. And the more we've gone on, and after 20 years, we realized it's actually attainable, because hundreds of clients turned into thousands of clients, turned into tens of thousands of clients. Well, it's now exponentially accelerating because of the influence we've had across the globe and in these different countries. And so there will be a day where we have coached and worked with and impacted 1 million clients. And that's where our vision is to be that dominant global leader. And we're pretty excited about the tracking we've got so far.
Awesome, Steve. Thank you. Thanks for the mention of New Zealand and Invercargill, of course. I know it's
We have
close to
family
your
there.
heart.
Got to do
Yeah, awesome.
it.
Hey, just finally, Steve, what advice would you offer aspiring entrepreneurs, given your journey, who are maybe just starting their journey or facing challenges in their business?
Well, there's probably a million things I'd say over a coffee or a
Yep.
pint at the pub, but for today, I'll share just a couple, and that's well, I believe very firmly that small to medium enterprise and the businesses in our communities, they're the lifeblood of the communities. And not that there aren't some amazing, huge corporations that are influential in different communities. The lifeblood, the flowing, blood through the veins, it really is the small to medium enterprise.
Yeah.
And I just thank all of the entrepreneurs out there and business owners because they are what makes this country run, what makes your country run, and it's what we love. So we'll start there. Being an entrepreneur, it can be lonely. It can be very rewarding. It can be very challenging and difficult. And again, one of the reasons I got into it from the beginning was because I wanted to control my own destiny and truly be the one responsible for the success.
Mm.
And what was missing was having someone with me, and that by way of a coach. And so it's been really, really good for myself to have coaches and mentors through my entrepreneurial life.
Cool.
And I would just share with any entrepreneur out there that it's really important to have someone to brainstorm with, to talk
Mm.
to be a sounding board. I know I've learned over the years it's not necessarily fun talking to my better half or your spouse when it's having a tough month making payroll. Those aren't fun conversations. A little easier with a mentor or a coach that's
Absolutely.
outside the family. So I would say that would be a big part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sounding board, it takes courage to be a business owner, as you mentioned, and the sounding board, I totally think is some fantastic advice that you've shared there. So
Mhm.
yeah, awesome, Steve. Thank you so much for your time. Obviously, we know each other, but it was great to learn even more about your journey. And I'm sure everyone watching this podcast will have picked up some sound words of advice there. And I look forward to seeing everybody else in our next episode. But Steve, great that we have you and Focal Point leading this off. Personally, I know I can speak on behalf of Scott. We're proud to belong to the Focal Point family and network and look forward to the future. Thank you.
Well, and thank you, Andy. It's been fun, and yeah, just kudos to all those entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, good words. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Andy.